Happy Wednesday, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Pageant Sit Down. My name's Regina Lena, and I am so happy to have all of you here because I am excited for you all to meet my guest. I met her back in 2017, and you're all going to meet her now. She is none other than the Reina Mundial Del Banano Canada 2019, Natasha Smith. Hi, Natasha.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to be here today. Thank you for everyone watching. It's been definitely a year, and I'm really excited to talk about anything and everything.
Perfect. Well, for those who are wondering why I was looking to the side, I have my cheat sheet here because it was a mouthful of a title, but an amazing title nonetheless. So, Natasha, for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Of course. So, my name is Natasha. I am a huge pageant fan, as you can see. I started competing in pageants, I believe, when I was 14 years old. And funny enough, it actually started with my mom coming home one day and she asked me, Natasha, how would you like to compete in a pageant? And back then I thought she was pulling my leg, and she says, no, I'm serious. And back then I watched Harlers and Tiaras. Even though I don't like using that analogy, that was the best thing I could come up with at the time. So I competed in my very first natural pageant, and then I actually competed in glitz. So that's kind of what I did from 14, 15, 16, 17. And then once I reached the age of 18, that's when I started transitioning into the Miss Teen category. I actually competed for Miss Teenage BC. I won that title, and I flew to Toronto for Miss Teenage Canada. As soon as I started aging out a teen, I started competing for the Miss. And any pageant girl and woman can resonate. As soon as you compete in one, you want to compete in another. It's just so exhilarating and it's addicting in a way. So pageants have been a huge aspect of my life, not even in the competing process and learning more about me, but meeting the incredible women and being able to connect with people across not only Canada, but across the world internationally as well. So it's been a huge aspect of my life. Besides that, I live in BC. I'm 24 years old. I have a degree in biomedical physiology that I graduated from SFU last year, and I'm hoping to actually pursue a career as a nurse practitioner. Those who follow my pageant journey thought that, or know that I actually wanted to pursue a career in med first. And after this last year, things have kind of changed as well. So I now want to pursue a career as a nurse practitioner. So I'm currently waiting on hearing back schools to see which one I'll be accepted with to school back in September. So right now I've just been taking the year off, just taking time for myself, working as well as much as I can in the pandemic, and just seeing kind of where life takes me. But that's a little bit of a snippet about me.
That's amazing. Okay, first of all, you started when you were 14. Can you tell our viewers what's the difference between natural pageants, glitz pageants, and then the whole Miss Teen, Miss categories?
Of course. So when I first started competing, and I competed in natural, the reason why I used Harlers and Tiaras as an analogy is because it is very parallel to that, minus all the drama and the pageant moms and everything like that. I've never met a supportive system as the natural and glitz pageants that I did compete in. So natural, pretty much what it is. It's all natural, no makeup, no nothing. You're just completely natural, and it's based off your personality, your poise, et cetera, et cetera. Glitz is where everybody was able to have a little bit more fun. So I'm talking about the spray tans, the fake nails, the falls, so the fake hairs, everything like that. And that's what included in the routines, the props and everything. One of my routines, my mom actually sewed me a Glee cheerleader costume, and I was the cheerleaders from Glee, and that was one of my routines as well. So you just have a lot of fun, and there in the natural portion, that's where you had a little bit more of an interview, but it was really based off of kind of the looks, the personality you showed on stage, and then your outfits and your routines as well. And then it wasn't where that's where more you actually have more of the prep with the philanthropy and the charities as well. So natural and glitz, that was kind of more like the looks wise, it was fun. And then when I transitioned into teen, that's when I started learning about the charities, the philanthropy, and most importantly, the volunteering as well. So when I competed in Miss Teenage BC and I won that title, my goal was to do as much as I could with my title. And you can agree, what you put into your title is what you're going to get from it as well. So I remember going home, looking up on Google and seeing what I can involve myself in with the community. And from that, I was astounded by just how many places and organizations and charities were looking for help and support. And just seeing that it was all in our local community as well. And I was able to go out and actually use my time in a positive, efficient way to help support others and other organizations and charities. I remember even volunteering for galas, and it would just be at the reception desk. I would be at the reception desk, or for runs, I would be at registration. There was one volunteer organization that I kind of still help with today as well, and it was the Run Up for Down Syndrome, and I was in the dunk tank. So like they kind of said dunk a princess if you wanted, and I was in the dunk tank helping raise funds for the Run Up for Down Syndrome. And there was one also organization that I hold near and dear to my heart to today as well. And if it wasn't for pageants, I would have never been in contact with it. And it's called Soul Girls. And I have been with Soul Girls ever since I competed back for Miss Teenage BC. I believe it's now 6 or 7 years. Obviously, it's been a little bit of a hiatus with the pandemic, but it was a youth empowerment program for girls ages 8 to 12. And I was called a Solitaire. So it was basically like a mentor for the girls, and it was a 2-hour program each week. And for the first hour, we would talk about different topics, whether it be values, what it means to be a good friend, or role models, and just things that girls should be learning about at that age as well, because it's kind of that fine age where it's like that transition period for women as well. And for the next hour, we would run, but we would make it fun, because that's the thing. At the end of the day, we want physical activity to be fun. So we would do jumps, we would do lunges, we would do dynamic stretches. And basically what the girls worked up to at the end of the 9-week program was the 5-kilometer fun run. So at the end, they were able to say, like, I did something, I did it, I had a goal, and I did it. So the world of pageants have really brought the organizations and the volunteer to light for me. And so from that was with teen, and then with Miss, obviously the teenage and the Miss, they are very similar as well in the sense of the prep. You're still going to put into, it depends on the girl, but for myself, I would put in around a year of prep. A year I would start thinking, and I would start strategizing and brainstorming. And then the actual physical prep, where you're actually kind of going, you're getting your wardrobe and everything and the coaching, it would probably be around 6 months. And the main aspect I found with Miss is, you can say there was a little bit more political, and I feel like there's more strategizing involved. So with teen, it is a lot about the personality. And for Miss, I found it was more, you really had to learn more about yourself, and you really had to be comfortable and confident in who you are, because you're not only going to be a role model for people across Canada, but hopefully internationally as well, because everybody is watching. And it was in the Miss that I slowly started to learn. My dad would tell me about the news. I would slowly start watching the news, because that's the thing. I wanted to be prepared for everything. And obviously in the Miss, that's when you start with the fitness, the swimsuit, the interviews, just everything, and you start planning and strategizing, and it's almost like that next level. Even I watched this year and past years of people competing in all the pageants in Miss World, Miss Universe, just all those pageants, Miss Galaxy, and the caliber is just higher and higher each year, because all the girls are just giving it 110%. So I have loved all the organizations I've competed in, and it's such a big aspect of my life.
That's amazing. And you mentioned you're from BC and you won the Miss British Columbia title, but you also won the Miss British Columbia World title.
Yes.
So what was it like going into 2 national pageants, 2 different divisions, but still with British Columbia on your sash?
It was amazing. I think there was a big gap between the teen and the Miss. I won the Miss World BC, Miss British Columbia World in 2018. And both of them were such surreal experiences, and I don't regret a second, and they're memories that I'm going to cherish for a lifetime. Teen, that was my very first kind of real pageant, I'm going to say. I did Glitz Natural, that's a totally different caliber than when you hit teen. So for teen, I think my mentality was more, of course I was going to give it my all, but I was also just enjoying the experience as well. I was enjoying what it allowed me to embody and embrace. And then when it came from Miss British Columbia World, I had a little bit more on my tool belt, as I like to say, because the year previously I did compete in Miss Universe Canada as well in 2017. So I knew a little bit more about what I was going into. And obviously at that year, once you start competing in pageants, you start knowing names, you start hearing names, and you start doing research as well. And so I think my mentality and my headspace was just in a different spot for Miss British Columbia World and going to compete for Miss World Canada as well, because I kind of knew more what to expect as well. I did my research in the past, and once again, it was that Miss caliber as well versus the teenage caliber.
And you mentioned Miss Universe Canada in 2017, and that's where we met.
Yes.
And you were amazing, first of all. Like, your stamina and your dedication to what you were doing and your goals was amazing. Like, we talk about, fitness and health and wellness going into pageantry, but for those who don't know Natasha, like, she took it hardcore. Like, I remember we would go to different sponsored lunches, and you were there with your set meal. You're like, I don't care what these people are eating. I got my own meal. And I'm just like, what is she doing? But no, it was very inspiring as well, because it shows how dedicated you were. And you got, you're top 20, if I'm not mistaken.
Top 10, yes.
Top 10, yeah. I'm like, I know she got further than I did, and I wasn't surprised. We were in the same dressing room, and I was like, yeah, I remember. I remember watching and being such a fan of you.
Aww.
And so having you on the show is just like full circle for me to see what you've accomplished since 2017. And you accomplished a lot. You did top 10 in Miss Universe Canada when we met. You did Miss World Canada, and then you competed again in Miss Universe Canada, and then was given a title to go internationally. What was that like for you to go from nationals to an international stage?
It was surreal. It honestly was one of the best experiences of my life to this day, and I'm so fortunate. And I have Dennis Davila and the Miss Universe Canada organization to thank for sending me to Ecuador as well. I'll never forget competing at Miss Universe Canada in 2019, and it was the after party where they were handing out titles. So basically for the pageant organizers, even though, for example, there's Miss World or Miss Universe Canada, a lot of directors own more than one title. So for Dennis, he was going to hand out 5 other titles. I was honestly not expecting anything. I was not expecting one, because I placed in top 20, and I was so thankful to place in top 20 as well, because it was a really competitive year. But I was going to the after party, and I was just going to have fun. The woman who won that year was Alyssa Boston, and she was one of my closest friends that week as well. And I was just so happy for her, and I wanted to support her by going to the after party. And I think the video is still somewhere online. I think it's even on my page. But basically, when they were calling out the 5 titles, they said Samantha Smith. I heard the last name Smith, and I was like, is that me? And then they said, oh, sorry, we misspoke. It's Natasha Smith. And I still remember just thinking, like, I got a title, like, I'm going internationally. And then they told me it was in Ecuador. And obviously for myself, I've always wanted to travel across the world as well. That's been one thing, but time and money are something that some people just don't have. And at the time, I don't have money. But it was, I remember just standing there, and I remember them putting the sash across my chest. And I was just looking at my parents, and my parents were so happy. My parents have been like my #1 supporters as well, especially my mom. I could not do half the things that I'd be doing to today without her. I call her my momager, and I'm sure a lot of pageant can relate, pageant girls, pageant women can relate to that just with their family. So I was so thankful for that. And then I remember talking with Mr. Davila later on, and he says, yes, you're leaving in a month. So I had a month to prepare for this pageant that I didn't really know anything about. So obviously the world of Google was a major help, and even Mr. Davila and the whole team as well. And I started researching what it was about. And for those who are watching, the Reina Mundial Del Banano, it basically translates into the banana queen. But obviously I think it that way because it sounds a lot more fancier in Spanish. The one thing I knew going into this pageant as well was it was spoken all completely in Spanish. And
Oh.
the only Spanish I ever had was in high school. I took Spanish in grade 9, 10, and 11. So I knew like the bare minimum. I actually downloaded Duolingo and started brushing up on my Spanish. But I was going to get a translator when I went to Ecuador as well. And it was around a week-long pageant, just over a week as well. And the whole entire month leading up to it, I just remember it was just, I'll never be able to forget those feelings of finally, my dream ever since I started pageants was to represent Canada on an international stage. And I was finally getting the opportunity because people were believing in me. And obviously, everybody can relate. There's a little bit of pressure as well. Obviously, I didn't want to let Canada down. I didn't want to let the people who supported me down, but I was going to give it my all. And at the end of the day, you can have a completely different set of judges and you can have a completely different winner. So I was going for the experience and obviously to give it my all as well. So leading up, it was a different pageant in the sense where there was a lot, we were going around everywhere to places. We basically explored all of Ecuador as well. And my roommate when I first got there was Miss USA. So it was nice because when I first got there, I met my translator and then everybody at the Reina Mundial, they were so welcoming, so nice. And I even had my translator handy as well. Obviously the language was Spanish. The first day, I'll never forget, it was so awkward for me. So I was paired with Miss USA to stay the first night because we were in Guayaquil. We landed in Guayaquil first, and my roommate was USA. She was bilingual, so she spoke both Spanish and English. So we bonded so well. I'm still in contact with her today, and like she's one of my closest pageant sisters as well. But in trying to introduce myself to the girls who only spoke Spanish, it was a little awkward, granted, the first day, and even just with the organization, I would be like, buenos dias, just like, but I was able to learn a little bit of Spanish as well. And as the days went on, it almost kind of became a game of charades. So they started to get to know me, my personality. Obviously, you know me. I'm just a goofy person as well. I can be serious, but I'm majority goofy. I just want to make people laugh. And so with the very few words I knew of Spanish, I would say those and try to act out the rest. Especially in the makeup room, it was just like, I didn't know the word for curls. So when they asked me how I want my hair, I would just go like this. It was just a big game of charades. And that's the thing. It was going into it, I knew my biggest barrier would be the language barrier because I wouldn't know what's being talked about. But at the same time, I felt so close with the people there, even though half the time I didn't know what they were saying. But it was just everybody, it was a family. That's the best way I can describe it, because it wasn't an international pageant where there was like 50, 70 girls. There was around 10 or 11 of us because the countries that were able to compete, they basically, one of the main guidelines were their country had to export bananas. And so that's why I was in place in Ecuador, because Ecuador is the main distributor of bananas. That's why it was called Reina Mundial Del Banano, because it's this big festivity that happens each year. The whole place of Ecuador, they all gather at the little cities as well. And so I was like, does Canada even export bananas? And yeah, we do on a little farm. So that's why there was very little countries as well. But we had like Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Mexico, Guatemala. We had all those countries as well. So it was so great meeting all those women as well. And the main thing I remember though is the lack of sleep. We basically probably around 2 to 3 hours of sleep a night, which you can resonate with during pageant weeks. It's usually very minimal sleep, but there it was, get back to the hotel at around 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, and then we would be up at like 5, 6 a.m. in the morning for hair and makeup to wherever we were next, because we stayed the first night in Guayaquil, and then we traveled around 3 hours to Machala, and then from that we branched off to different cities, like the city of Piña, Santa Rosa, and all those different cities. And I remember, you know me, I'm usually always hungry, as you 2017. But we sometimes would not eat until midnight or 1 a.m. because there was a lot of festivities going out in the cities. And I remember the one line that I always remember that the girls and I said, because I understood it, was a yo tango hombre, which is like, I am hungry, but in translate to I have hunger. But we would always sing that at the table. But it was just such a surreal experience as well. And even on finals night, the whole production, there was around, I think it was all done outside. It was all free as well. So people from cities were able to come and watch. There were no tickets. I think there was, I'm going to miss a zero. It was 1,000 people, I think they quoted. I think it was 100,000 people. And the attraction as well, not only was it the pageant, but I'm totally blanking on the name. He's a Grammy Award winner, Carlos Vivas. He came to play. So he was singers as well. So he came to play after the pageant. And we were all very lucky because we were able to watch the show as well. And then at the end, we were able to go up on stage and kind of jam out with Carlos Vivas. So that was also memorable.
Nice.
But I still look back at photos today and it still just kind of makes my heart warm.
Well, it's great that you were able to actually go to an international pageant before the 2020 lockdown.
Yeah.
But I remember watching your journey and following your social media and watching your stories, and it looked like you had such a great time. But it's so interesting how you mentioned only the countries that export bananas, and then I looked to my kitchen. I'm like, do I have bananas? I'm gonna check their stickers to see where they're from.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I never even knew that as well. But now when I go to the grocery store and I see the little Ecuador sticker on the banana, I was like, I was there. And it's crazy to think that there's so many different pageant organizations out there and they celebrate something about their culture as well.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. And again, I'm really happy that you had that experience. And, I know you've been working really hard. I'm pretty sure you've gone like back to back to back with Miss Universe and Miss World. So it's so great to see that you finally made it to an international stage. You've been competing for over 10 years. So that's amazing. What was it like? Because I know there's some girls that aren't sure if they want to do Miss World or Miss Universe. You've done both a few times. Mm-hmm. What are the main differences between the two?
So I know the Miss World Canada has changed quite a bit since I've competed. They've now added more titles as well. So, well, I can only speak on behalf of when I competed, but I found the main difference of Miss World Canada, Miss Universe Canada. First off, they're both incredible organizations. Anybody looking to compete, I would encourage them to compete in both because every girl, every woman, they're going to experience something different when they compete in an organization. From when I remembered when I competed at Miss World Canada, I remembered there was a lot more outings per se. There was a lot more kind of going out to explore the city. There was a lot kind of more activities, similarly to Miss Teenage Canada as well. And for the Miss World Canada, I found there was a little bit more, when I say prep work, I mean the prep work in terms of kind of like the philanthropy, the charity, and I remember there was the blogging as well. Or I believe that was like Miss Teen, but there was some kind of like blogging or posting, et cetera, especially during the week, posting about all the sponsors and everything. And then for the Miss Universe Canada, the one thing I would say is it's very production based as well. So for Miss Universe Canada, I found that there were more rehearsals, and because the production at the end, we have the prelims, we have the opening numbers for prelims, they're on the stage, especially the finals, they're on stage. It's all about kind of that final production as well. And there were a little bit less outings. Granted, when I did compete, Miss Universe Canada used to be longer as well, but then it kind of got shorter as well. It kind of shortened to around 5 or 6 days. So then obviously that put Gino, the choreographer, under a lot more pressure to kind of get the girls going. But for both of them, they're very similar in terms of what you're going to be looking for a pageant. They both encompass the interview, the photogenic, the swimwear, the evening gown wear, and also that philanthropy and charity as well. Because Miss Universe Canada, they are still very big on philanthropy and charity. Whichever pageant you do, especially in the Miss category, you're going to have to support, advocate, raise money for whatever charity that they support. I know for different organizations, it changes each year. And I know, especially though for Miss World Canada now, what I didn't experience, but now I know the girls do, it's that almost speed, it's the groups. So where it's the 5 girls and it's kind of that speed interview. So I never experienced that, but the one thing with all the organizations, I know Miss World Canada now has the 5 organization, Miss Universe Canada has the one, and then they have like Miss International and some others. But if any girl was really eager to compete, I would definitely encourage them to go actually on the websites of Miss World Canada, of Miss Universe Canada, and see what feels right to them, because it's going to be the exact same thing as going to a new school or trying something new. And because each organization stands for something different. So even the motto, confidently beautiful for Miss Universe Canada. And I know I would even suggest to girls, look at Miss Supranational. Like now the actual international page, look at Miss World, look at Miss Earth. If somebody has a really strong heart for global warming, or they want to make a big impact in the world in terms of global change, I would recommend then going to compete at Miss World Canada, because that's where the Miss Earth is. If you really had a passion for really just representing Canada on the Miss Universe stage, because that's all you've wanted since a child, go to Miss Universe as well. If you had a really strong heart for like being an advocate for like war and peace, grand at Miss World Canada. So it really depends what the girl's niche is as well, but you're not going to go wrong. Wherever you compete, you're not going to go wrong. Every system that I've competed in, I've absolutely loved, and I have nothing but good things to say about them.
That's amazing. And that's actually some amazing tips on just picking which pageant to go for, because they are such big names. But it's great that you mentioned that there are the 5 from Miss World, and I believe the other 5 in Miss Universe Canada. So it's great that you mentioned that. And we're actually at the halfway point, which is insane. So Natasha, there's a segment on the show which is 5 tips from a beauty queen, and you kind of already gave us some. But what would you say your top 5 tips would be for any pageant hopeful that is looking to compete in a pageant?
All right, 5 tips. Let's hope I don't go on a tangent.
No, go ahead.
My first tip, first and foremost, and I know this sounds so cliche, and I know this is stated over and over, but be yourself. The saying is be beautiful, because even the word beautiful has the word you in it. Only you can truly be yourself. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, when you compete in a pageant, you want to be chosen for who you are at your core, for who you are and what you believe in. So just be yourself, especially in interview. I know even me personally, I can get so flustered for interview because it's expecting the unexpected. But you already have all the answers, because only you know you. And so just be yourself throughout the whole entire process and enjoy it. My second tip would be, it's better to over-prepare than under-prepare. So prepare. Even if it takes a year in advance, start thinking about it. Start planning it. Start thinking what you need to do, what connections. And I'm talking about from the dress designers to when you plan your wardrobes every single day, from what you're going to wear from makeup to what you're going to do your hairstyles, to what you're going to wear for your clothes, to your shoes, everything. Start planning. It's better to be prepared, and pack sewing kits, like extra heels. And actually, funny story, when I competed for Miss Universe Canada in 2019, I brought 3 suitcases, 2 large ones and a little one. The very first night, which everybody knows is you don't get back to the hotel till around like 2 a.m. in the morning, I was trying to open my main suitcase with in them, and my zipper broke. So there I am crying in the corner. Both my roommates are coming into the room. This is the first time we're meeting. I'm like in the corner in my trying to call my parents as well, because I can't open up my suitcase to bring out the clothes that I need to set aside for the next day. And so my parents, because they were coming to support and watch me later on through the week, they had to buy a suitcase here and come. But I had a pair of scissors in my other set of suitcase, because I had one suitcase for clothes, other suitcase for like accessories, all my meal preps and everything like that. And so I grabbed the scissors and I had to rip open my suitcase. And I never forget one of my roommates, she was actually calling the front desk as well to see if potentially if the scissors didn't work, they had like pliers or a hammer to like bust open my suitcase. But always be prepared. And also if you are to compete in a pageant, space out your stuff accordingly. So when you pack it, you know exactly where it is in your suitcase, because it's going to save you a lot of time and effort when you get home at 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. and you need to lay out your clothes for the next day. You don't want to go shuffling. You just know exactly where it is. And that was also another thing I do. I take a photo of all my outfits. So even when I was on the bus going back to the hotel, I'd be flipping to see, all right, I know I'm doing this kind of activity the very next day. What do I want to wear? Just in case my mind changed. So definitely be prepared and try everything. Throughout your year of being prepared and preparing for everything, try everything, because it's good to make mistakes when you're preparing versus at the actual pageant week. So that was going to be my second point. My third point would be, don't be afraid to try things new as well as you're preparing. Don't be afraid to branch out. Don't be afraid to branch out to a sponsorship that you think you're not going to get, because as the saying goes, you don't know if you don't try. Really try to get involved in your community, because as I said in the past, what you put into your title is really what you're going to get out of it as well. And I firmly stand by that. Some people can just have a title and they are simply fine with that. But for myself, I wanted to be engrossed in my community. I wanted to get involved, and it rewarded me in return because I was able to meet so many incredible people. I was able to build those connections, and I'm still in contact with some of those charities and organizations to today. And don't be afraid to go out and seek sponsorship, because you never know. Like I said, you don't know if you don't try. And I knew I hated doing those. I hated doing the cold calls, going into companies and asking. But that's the thing, at the end of the day, for sponsorship, it doesn't have to be money, because I know sometimes it's tough asking for money, but it can be intangible objects as well, or it can be tangibles like, all right, if I'm going to compete in a pageant, I know I'm going to need nails, let's go to a nail salon. Or I know I'm probably going to need a spray tan, let's go to a spray tan salon, see if they can sponsor me 2-3 spray tans. So don't just think about money. Don't be afraid to branch outside the box and get involved with your community as well. Number 4, and I know this is sometimes hard, but for example, let's say there's 60 girls competing in a pageant and there's only one title. 59 girls are going to go home sad. One girl is going to go home happy. At the end of the day, the pageant game is a numbers game. And I always like to stress this as well. You can have a totally different group of judges and a totally different outcome for a winner. So for the girls that are planning on competing, but they're worried that they're not going to win, it's not a reflection of you at all. It's just a numbers game as well. So if you are planning to compete in a pageant, of course, give it your all. You don't want to walk away with any regrets. And that's something I believe in as well. I'm always going to give it my all, because I want to make sure as soon as I step off stage, I know that I did it to the best of my capability. But at the end of the day, have fun. I've seen some girls just be in it to win it mind frame, and if they don't win, they walk away without creating those memories, without creating the bonds of the friendships with the girls that they competed with as well. So it's kind of a balancing act, but when you compete, build the memories, create those bonds with the girls. It's a once in a lifetime experience. Only the girls that you compete with can really truly empathize what you went through during pageant week, the tears, the laughter, the joy, everything like that. But also just have in mind that you gave it your all. You gave it your best. It's not a reflection on you if you don't win, and there's always next year. I've seen girls, I mean, look at me. I've gone back year after year after year. You can always go back as well. So, and then my 5th and final point is have fun. We are in an age where you can only do, well, for the miss, at least there's always misses as well, but you're in an age where you can compete for the miss. You only have around 19 to 27, 28, depending on which organization you compete with, but you're allowed to do this. And this is going to be a once in a lifetime experience where you can tell your daughter, your grandchildren, anything like that, and you're going to have the memories to cherish as well. It's such a fun experience. And I know sometimes during the week, all the pageant girls and women can relate, where it's like, oh, I just want this week done. I'm so tired. I just want to eat a piece of pizza. I just want like 10 or like 24 hours of sleep. But it's after you compete on that finals night and that final stage, and then you walk off and you're like, I want to do it again. Have fun throughout the whole process. Find the joy in being so tired that you can barely keep your eyes open. Find the joy in being stressed. Find the joy right before you go on stage. And also just find the joy in the prep, because it is so much fun. And you don't want to look back thinking how stressed you were, or it's not supposed to be a stressful experience. It's supposed to be fun, especially you're investing all this time, all this effort. Let it be fun for you. Let it be an experience. I know for myself, I was able to learn so much about me and myself, and personally, mentally, and physically grow. And let it be a journey for you as well. So just have fun. And those are my 5 tips.
Amazing. And those are 5 amazing tips. And Natasha, you have all this knowledge of pageantry and your experiences. If people wanted to reach out to you, where can they find you?
Of course. So the easiest way to probably reach out to me would be my Instagram. My handle is at NAAT Smith. And send me a direct message. My DMs are always open for questions, even pageant coaching. I'm taking a little bit of a break right now, just focusing on school. But I love pageants, and I love living vicariously through other people as well. So my DMs are always open for any kinds of questions. Absolutely.
I love that. And you mentioned coaching. So if people wanted to coach, best way to find you is through your Instagram. But you all heard her tips. You all heard her journey. She is very qualified to be a pageant coach. So make sure you check her out. You mentioned you're taking a break right now. A question on Instagram is a question that I've actually had as well. And it's, what is next for you in pageantry?
So I definitely do plan on competing again. Pageant is in my blood and my soul, 100%. And even when I competed back in Miss Universe Canada, even after the Reina Mundial Del Banano pageant, I knew I wanted to go back, but timing is everything, especially since I have competed in a few years. I want to make sure when I do compete, I have literally pulled out every trick of the box that I could find. So right now, just with school, I am hoping to get accepted into UBC, and it's a 20-month intensive program for the program that I want to go into. And I have even tried finding loopholes within, and it would just be impossible to take time off while being in this program. So I do plan on competing again, and it would probably be within the next 2 years. Which organization, I can't say yet because I'm not certain, but I do plan on competing again for an organization, whether it be my last pageant or I compete again a year after that, I don't know. But there's still more in me that I want to show. So
amazing. Oh, I'm excited for you. And there are Ms. divisions.
Yeah.
28 is just a number, girl. Like you said, there's Misses, there's also Ms. So
yes.
I'm excited to see where this journey takes you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I'm definitely excited as well. I have no idea where the wind will blow, but I'm sure I will be very excited when it blows me there.
Awesome. And we're all going to be watching. So, Natasha, fitness. Okay. I've watched you eat your own meals at pageant week. I've seen you work out on social media. Fitness seems to be a very important thing to you. Why is that?
For me, ever since I was young, I was also a very active girl. I was very fortunate. My parents put me into a lot of extracurriculars, be it musical theater, dance. I started doing dance at a young age, and I did that for, I believe, around 14, 15 years, and I did it competitive. I experienced all kind of genres, from the tap, the ballet, jazz, the hip-hop, lyrical. My favorite was actually hip-hop, funny enough. I was actually on an HHI Team Canada as well, where we did have the opportunity to compete at Worlds, but just certain things happened that we didn't. But I competed with hip-hop very competitively, and it was just a way that I was able to kind of forget about reality. And I'm sure everybody has that for themselves. They have one kind of activity where they can just forget about the world around them, forget about the worries, forget about the priorities and the stresses as well, and just let loose. And for me, that was a dance. Obviously, in the dance world as well, once you reach a certain age in whatever dance studio you're at, they expect you to start applying to dance schools, dance academies, whether it be Alberta or anything. Obviously, for myself, as much as I had a passion for dance, I knew that wasn't realistic in my life, and I wanted to pursue a career. At the time, it was in med, and now it's nurse practitioner. So I had to let dance go. That was a very tough year for me as well, because it was always a part of me, and it still is. Obviously, now I needed a new outlet. And so that's actually when I started at Good Life Gym, and I started working out because at the times in the summers, I think it was for like 15 or 16-year-olds, they had a free membership just for summers. So I started doing that, and I was like a fish out of water when it came to anything kind of gym related or working out or anything. And so, but I started it and I loved it because I loved the way it made me feel after, even though, yes, we all can experience mornings getting up and we just are so tired. We don't want to do anything, but I knew the feeling after working out and all those endorphins as well, they would make me feel so much better. And so working out has been a big aspect of my life. And the reason why I like it is pretty much simply, I like the way it makes me feel. And it makes me feel confident about myself. It allows me to challenge myself both physically and mentally. Mentally in the sense that, okay, can I complete this workout? Yes, I can. Physically, I can actually see my progress and see, can I lift heavier? Can I run farther? Anything like that. And it really kind of took a turn when I did start competing in pageants because of the swimsuit component. And it got to the point where for myself and just the way my body is built, I was not able to find the changes that were making me happy. Obviously, I wanted to get leaner and toner, but I was also kind of getting into this world where at the time I was still at the beginning of my kinesiology degree. And I wanted to do it in a healthy way as well. So I started doing some research, and that's when I got in contact with my coaches that I had for Miss Universe Canada 2017, and Grace and Andrew from the Fit Life 24/7. And they basically did a meal prep for me because, as I mentioned, I'm a go big or go home. For swimsuit, I wanted to make sure that I literally put in every single ounce of my mental and physical strength that I could into this, because that is the only way that I was going to be able to walk off stage and be satisfied with my performance as well. So I did prep. So the prep consisted of counting my macros. So I had my scale at home. I would weigh my food, and I would weigh my food into those little Tupperware containers. And I'm talking about like from your vegetables, your chicken, and your rice. And
I remember.
And I would carry around my bottle of mustard and ketchup, as I'm sure you remember as well. And I started doing prep, and I was able to learn a lot about myself through that as well. And with that included the gym workouts as well. So my whole plan consisted of weekly check-ins. And I was still taking all my vitamins and everything. I was eating all whole foods, but I basically wasn't eating any sugar, no processed food, no dairy, no nothing like that. And that's when I was able to see the progress and that's what kind of kept me going as well. Because as soon as you start to see other more definition or you start to see results, it just kind of motivates you a little bit more. And then after the pageant, I did a reverse diet, because obviously with prep, for those who have done prep before, it's basically calories in and calories out. So if you burn more calories than you take in, you're going to lose fat, is basically the not so secret formula. And so my calories started becoming less and less and less up to pageant week to get me more defined. And then a reverse diet was so I don't binge eat everything. I slowly started increasing my calories more and more and more because I wanted to do it in a healthy manner as well. Now today, because I do know with pageants as well, that kind of mentality, it can become very restrictive as well in terms of the food that you can and cannot have. To today, I don't count macros. I don't weigh my food because I have slowly realized for myself it was really restrictive, and I love all kinds of food, especially like chocolate and pastries. That's my kryptonite. I don't like candy. I don't like anything like that, but it's the chocolate and the pastries that really get to me.
Got it.
And work out because I know it makes me feel good. And that's the one thing I always wanted to make sure I'm not working out because I have to and because I'm trying to attain a certain body, but I'm working out because I like the way it makes me feel. And that's the thing in today's society, especially now with social media. Even myself, it is so hard not to compare yourself to somebody else on a screen, but it's everyone's highlight reel. I can even admit it myself, my social media is going to be my highlight reel as well, but I always want to make sure that I'm not working out to either be thinner, lose weight, or change this aspect of me. It's just because I like the environment as well. We have like a gym family at the gym, and everybody almost kind of keeps you accountable. Where were you yesterday? Where were you a couple days ago? And that's the thing. I really encourage everybody, especially in times of this pandemic, it's tough to stay sane. And that's my release. That kind of keeps me sane and my sanity. As much as sometimes I just want to lay in bed, it's nice to get up and actually do something. And it's a great way to start your day as well, be it a walk outside. It doesn't even have to be a full-blown workout. Be it a walk, be it a run, be it some yoga on the deck, or maybe not if it's snowing, but some yoga inside. But just do something for yourself. And I think that's so important for everyone, especially nowadays. Do something that makes you happy and do something for yourself. That's why fitness is such an important part of my aspect, because I really do preach it does make you feel better. There's science behind it as well, and I always love and support science, but just try something new. So yeah.
Amazing. No, I'm actually now curious. Do you still like mustard and ketchup?
I do.
Okay.
Oh my word, I love ketchup 100%. I mean, I will put ketchup on things that probably don't need ketchup. Mustard, not so much, like on hot dogs yet. I don't think I would hit that phase unless I back in a pageant had to go through that phase. But ketchup, for sure. I will put it on like eggs, hash browns. This is so embarrassing. I put it on this was prep though. So like during prep, my taste buds were a little haywire. I put it on a pickle one time because I was allowed to have pickles.
On a pickle?
If my friend ever watches back, they're going to make fun of me. But yeah, they always made fun of me for that, putting a ketchup on a pickle, because I was so hungry one time, and it was like 2 weeks prior to a pageant. Anyway, but I don't carry them around with me anymore. I don't carry them.
Oh, I remember you just pull them out. I'm like, oh,
but I will definitely support people who put ketchup on anything.
Ketchup on a pickle. But I mean, you do it in a burger, so why not?
That's exactly what I said, and my friends still didn't agree with me, but I said, no, it happens in a burger. If it happens in a burger, you can ixnay the bun and the meat, but...
Exactly.
Yeah.
You don't need anything else. It's fine. The burger, I mean, the pickle has become the patty in this situation.
Exactly. Oh, thank you. Finally, somebody who understands.
I got you. Don't worry. That's hilarious. So, okay, we're almost at the ending of our show, and I feel like we talked so much about pageantry and fitness and really getting to know you a little bit more, Natasha. But besides all of that, do you see yourself going back into dance one day once you're done school? Because I know it's a passion of yours.
Yeah. You know, I think for myself, there's nothing to stop anybody from pursuing something that they did in the past. And I really do think that if I did want to pursue dance, 100%. As soon as this pandemic blows over, I have already looked at doing harbor classes as well, just to kind of keep up with it. And we have like a harbor dance studio. That's kind of one of our main studios out in downtown Vancouver. And they put on classes. Absolutely. To do something for myself 1 time a week. I know I'll always miss that competitive aspect, but I can go into pageants for that, or I can do something else. Everything, you can find a competition in everywhere, the friendly kind. But I definitely do think I will take some lessons again, because it has been a large aspect of my life, or even pull up a YouTube video and do a dance YouTube video and try to learn something. That can be something for myself. If it's a really gloomy day outside or my gym closes again, I can do that. But I definitely do think if there's a will, there's a way. And I truly do believe that there's always a loophole to life in anything. And since it has been a passion, I will make sure I will continue that as well.
Awesome. I'm really excited to hear that because I can see when you were talking about dance how passionate you got about it. So it's great to hear that you are considered going back. And you're right, if the gyms close down in BC, you have something to fall back to. It's crazy to think that the gyms are open in BC and Ontario.
You
It's a
know,
whole other world.
I
It's
know,
literally night and day.
I know. It's crazy. It's my saving grace, so I'm very thankful for it, especially since I trust my gym a lot. The last COVID case we had one in January, and so we haven't had any more. Obviously, can't say the same for some other gyms around the area, but I feel safe going to that gym, and that's the main thing as well for me. So, fingers crossed it still stays open.
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully Ontario opens up. But
Yeah,
no, I'm gonna
testing
just
my.
we're just all gonna make our way to BC because you guys look like you're having a lot of fun.
Oh, oh no, we're not. No, we're far from having fun. But I'm glad we're putting on the facade that we are.
I mean, all my friends from BC are, so I guess
Yeah.
so they're doing something right. Or like you said, it's the real that we want that they want us to see on social media. So who knows? But before we go, Natasha, like I said, it's been great catching up with you and talking with you. I'm sure you were surprised that I remembered the mustard bottle coming out of your bag. Um, is there anything else that you would like to say to our viewers before we start to wrap things up?
I think whether it be pageant or anything in life, you don't know if you don't try. If there's something that you've always wanted to try, there's something always in the back of your mind that's been nagging you, go out and do it. I mean, we only have one life as well, and it's really the truly difference between being alive and truly living. And for anybody looking to compete in pageants, you won't regret it. That hesitancy is going to go away. It might seem like a big jump, but it's going to be so worth it. You're going to meet incredible people along the way. You're going to build incredible networking, incredible bonds. And anybody looking to compete in a pageant, if they have any questions, like I said, my DMs are always open. I am a fully supporter, and it's going to be the time of your life. So, like I said, you don't know if you don't try, and go for it.
Amazing. And Natasha, besides scissors, what would be your have to go to in your emergency kit? And don't say tied to go sticks because we went through all of those during our year.
Okay. If I have to,
Uh-huh.
in my safety kit, I would say safety pins. Safety pins, they help with any kind of wardrobe malfunction. Absolutely. And even, I'm not too sure, you can probably use it if you had some kind of lock on your suitcase and you needed to pick it. But safety pins were my lifeline in terms of taking them to finals night, prelims night, even going out and about. Safety pins. Yeah.
I love it. No, oops. Sorry, I kind of went the wrong way. I put our ending screen. We're not done yet, guys. We have a few minutes. Sorry about that. My finger went the wrong way. But
Something else.
no,
I know this is another thing, but a snack. Whether it's a granola bar or anything, I am prone to be getting hangry as well. So the hungry, angry, and I'm sure a lot of people can resonate and relate with that. But always bring a snack. I remember so many girls, they forgot to bring a snack, or they're like, you will never know when lunch is. You won't even know if you get a lunch. Like, you will never know when lunch is or dinner is. So it's better to be prepared, whether it's like rice chips or granola bar, bring a snack.
Oh, I remember you were eating in the bus all the time. Let's expose Natasha on this show. No, I remember. I like because we were at the hotel, so we could just grab whatever we wanted. Like I would just grab like a apple or whatever and just shove them in my pockets and in my bag and be out the door. You had your own meal again, your own breakfast, your own lunch. So you had your luggage for clothes, you had your luggage for shoes. Did you have a luggage for food? Or a cooler?
So my food was in the luggage of like all my accessories, and like sometimes shoes were in there as well. Granted, the shoes were in a bag, they weren't touching the food, for all those wondering.
Yes.
But I would actually pre-call the hotel to see what restaurant was attached, because I couldn't really bring chicken from BC to Toronto. So like what I packed like protein wise was cans of tuna, but like that would be last resort, because the last thing I would want to do is crack open a can of tuna on the bus. It would be like more so in the rehearsal room, if anything, and rice cakes for carbs. And I was barely able to have fat that week, because I remember I followed like a strict like prep for like my pageant week prep. It's like people call it like the peak week. Anyway, I remember bringing that, and then I would call the restaurant to see like if I can order chicken. So in 2017, it was Denny's attached, and I would order chicken breast from Denny's in the morning. I planned my days, and then I brought my scale and I would cut it up and I would put it in my little to-go kit, and then wherever we were off to that day, I would just kind of bring it with me. And then,
I remember.
Yeah. So it was, anything that needed refrigerated, I would see what I can get there, but I would bring all the staples with me in a bag.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, is how the heck did you get all that food from BC to Toronto? But that makes more sense.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it earlier, and I think it's great that you touched upon it. Your journey in 2017 was a lot different than what pageantry is like now. You mentioned the look and the body of what pageantry was like back then. I also went through something similar as well. So it's great that you're able to touch upon being like, no, it's not like that. Don't worry, ladies who are watching, you don't have to only eat ketchup on pickles. You're fine. Don't worry. But you went through this journey, and it's a learning journey. And like I said, it showed your dedication to what you were doing. And if that means that's the one thing I remembered about you, although it's not, from the pageant, then so be it. She's dedicated. She's hardworking. She knows what she wants, and she's going for it. And you made it to top 10. So you can't say anything about those pickles and ketchup.
Exactly. And that's the thing. At the end of the day, everyone is going to have their own form of prep. Some people are going to go out and enjoy the sponsorship meals and everything, and no prep is right or wrong. Everybody's going to have their own unique way of preparing. It's just what's going to make you feel the best and what's going to make you feel the most confident on stage. For me, it was bringing around ketchup and mustard bottles. For other people, it's going to be enjoying that chocolate cake, or like enjoying like a room service and like getting some kind of glucose like within them. For everybody, it's going to be different. So that at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong. It's just what makes you feel best.
100%. And on that note, we are going to start to wrap things up. So Natasha, thank you again so much for joining me today. It was so great catching up. It's been a few years, and like I said, I've been following your journey, and I am so excited for your comeback and to see where you go next in pageants, whether it be Miss Earth, Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss Supranational, wherever it might be. I'm excited to see where you go. And again, one more time, where can people find you if they wanted to continue following your journey or look for a pageant coach?
Of course. So easiest way to find me would be Instagram. My handle is @NatSmith, NAATSMITH. My DMs are always open, and I'm always looking to connect with the fellow pageant community.
Amazing. On that note, thank you again, Natasha, for being here.
For having me.
You're so welcome. You're such an amazing guest, our Banana Queen Canada.
Thank you. I should have brought the bananas.
You should have. But to all of those who tuned in, thank you for spending your Wednesday evening, morning, or afternoon with us, whenever time you're watching this. If you enjoyed today's interview, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if you like content like this and want to continue watching our episodes, we are live every Monday and Wednesday, so make sure you subscribe to this channel. Again, thank you so much for watching. Natasha, thank you again for being here, and I'll see you all soon. Stay safe, everyone. Bye.